wife, first and foremost, shared this. Evgenia Karamurza shared on her X or Twitter. She said, "Thank you very much to everyone involved. Sorry for not answering right away. We're still a little shocked, but the kids heard daddy's voice." And you see them at the Oval Office hearing their dad for the first time. And by the way, their dad was poisoned twice. And had to survive in solitary confinement in Siberia, um, and really was losing hope that he will see the light of day because he's connected to Navalny, and we saw what happened to Alexei Navalny, and just to hear that he was meant to be part of this prisoners exchange, it's just heartbreaking. Also, according to British sources, as I mentioned yesterday, allegedly, as they mentioned, it was agreed upon that he would be released on February 15th, just the day or near the day when he was murdered. So incredible. Now, as Vladimir's condition worsened, he had to be transferred to the hospital within the prison. He was in solitary confinement. Also, at that hospital, nobody knows what they did to him in that hospital, what they injected into him. And if you ever heard about how prisoners, political opponents of Putin are treated in those prisons, is very evil, and they're injected with poison and they're fed poison and so on and so forth. So it's like extended death that they're facing, which is also now rumored to be, there's several versions what killed Navalny, but one of them is that he was poisoned slowly but surely, and then had a heart attack or an impact, or died at impact on the day of his death. And so a bit about Vladimir. So he's a journalist and Washington Post contributor, who has long been an outspoken critic and dissident in Russia, repeatedly condemning Russia's war in Ukraine, calling for sanctions against Moscow, and accusing Russia's President Vladimir Putin of running a murderous dictatorship, according to Reuters. In May, Karamurza was awarded a Pulitzer Prize for commentary for passionate columns written under the great personal risk from his prison cell, warning of the consequences of being such hated person in Vladimir Putin's Russia, and insisting on a democratic future for the country. He had been in prison since 2022 on charges of treason. The 42-year-old had been sentenced last year to 25 year prison term before Russia agreed to release him and others in exchange for the return of 8 individuals held in US, Germany, Norway, Slovenia, and Poland. And so he did not arrive at Joint Base Andrews because he needed medical treatment right away. So he was flown to Bonn in Germany, had to go had to undergo medical treatment, as well as others who also were working with Navalny. There are at least two individuals that were released along with him and that also needed medical treatment. They're currently in quarantine, and so they spoke today. They attended a press conference. They looked way better than what we see them before to look like. Here's them waiting for their press conference. On the left, this is Vladimir Karamurza, and on the right are those two still wearing, by the way, the uniform of the jail uniform that they literally came with. Russians complained that their murderers, hackers, and spies were flown with their eyes closed, and they were fearing that somebody will shoot them, and that was inhumane and whatnot. But those are actual, literal prisoners. Like, those are murderers. We're going to talk about them. I'll tell you all about it, at least about some of them. So, not to compare with the 4 guys that U.S. and President Biden's administration was fighting for. So now in Bonn, all 3 gave a press conference. Let's take a look what Vladimir Kara-Murza says. And by the way, please pay attention. He is drawing the parallel between the post-war times and the Cold War times, when also United States and also European countries were the reason that some opponents of that current Russian regime were also released. And that also happened on the same tarmac in Ankara, Turkey. So that's what he is sort of drawing the parallel. And he says it's very significant and iconic that they were following that same path. So let's listen to him.
Would like to second what my friend said. Really happy to see everyone here. I've got this impression for the second day that I'm watching some kind of a movie. About a week ago, I was in a solitary confinement camera cell in Siberia, and then in Lefortovo, and now I'm here at this picturesque bank of rain. I'd like to, first of all, express my gratitude. It's very symbolic that we are in Bonn at the moment, which is the former capital of federal FDR, because what has happened is many unfortunate traditions has come back to the lives of Russians. Dictatorship, it's the tradition of invasions, military invasions. It's the tradition of violating personal freedoms. And and we're very happy to see that along with these nasty traditions, some good traditions are also coming back. And I think one of the good traditions of the democratic countries, and specifically Federative Republic of Germany, is this help in liberating political prisoners. And I'm thinking about our country. I would like to name three political prisoners, very famous political prisoners of the Soviet Gulag, who gained freedom due to efforts of Germany. Solzhenitsyn from Lefortovo, just like us, to Frankfurt. Anatoly Sharansky in February 1986, who was exchanged at that famous bridge, and Mikhail Khodorkovsky in 2013, who came back from the same prison as Pivovarov. It was the personal aircraft of the head of state of Germany at the time, and we were at the landing strip of Ankara airport. That tradition was continued. And I know that we also spoke about this with Scholz yesterday. We all know that this was a difficult decision for the German government. In democracies, decisions are difficult. In dictatorship, decisions are very easy. Everything is decided on the basis of some cynical ideas. But the difference between dictatorship and democratic system is that in democratic systems, the highest value is attached to human life. Oscar Schindler was given, there was a plaque where there was a quote that a person saving one life is saving the whole humanity.
A person saving one life is saving all humanity. And then he continued, today 16 lives were saved. And just think about the phrase that he said, that in democracy, all decisions are difficult. Decisions are only easy and simple when you live in the dictatorship. because they're based on cynical values. So when you hear next time the former president say, well, on day one, I'm going to close the border, not really even paying attention that there are people traveling who are, having family members, maybe with medical emergencies. There are people who have waited and paid and applied to be here legally, and put all their funds together to travel or to connect together with their loved ones. There's a war going on in Ukraine. There is plus minus war in Israel, and and people need to travel and see their loved ones and perhaps rescue them. But it's easy. I'm just going to close the border on day one. So remember this. If somebody, I think this is a very significant phrase here. If somebody has it so easy making any decision about anybody's life or tweeting about it, that person bases his and her and their decisions on cynical, egoistic values. And that is dangerous. And that has nothing to do with democracy. And this is not American. This is anything but American. So difficult decisions have to be made, and hence the press, when they pressed now both Jake Sullivan and President Biden as to why did you agree to this exchange, because now Russians will look for more prisoners, and now they will be attacking us. And President Biden said, well, this is what it is. I make difficult decisions, and if I get a chance to save somebody's life who is unjustly imprisoned and tortured and poisoned, I will do it. That is American. That is democracy. Difficult decisions. Decisions are difficult when you consider other people's opinions and values and lives. You take a lot into consideration. Then it's difficult to make a decision. If it's just all about you, simple.